Hi there. Hope this video finds you doing great. So it's been about 5 weeks, I think, since I finished my month-long trial test to be a nomad. And I haven't really done a video about what I learned on my month-long trip and what I think about being a nomad going forward. So I thought I'd just sort of talk on the fly here. I haven't really written down anything about what I wanted to talk about, but let's see what I can remember here. So the first campground that I went to, I just remember feeling so excited to be there in my little teardrop and everything, but I was also surprised at how much physical work it was between, getting ready for the trip and then packing it all up and then getting to the campground and unpacking everything and getting everything set up. And I just remember very clearly my back and everything hurting quite a bit, and it took me a couple of days to recover from that. And you're just a heck of a lot more active when you're doing these things, and my body just was not used to it. I mean, here I am sitting on my couch at home, and this is kind of where I tend to be a lot of my days. And so on that camping trip, I was like constantly in and out of my car, in and out of my trailer, having to, it just seemed like constantly I had things that I needed to do. So it was just a lot of in and out and, not sitting around a lot. I mean, with a tiny trailer like I had, it was kind of a good thing because I didn't have a couch like I have here at home to sit on and just, veg out and watch TV, I mean, the only thing I could do was go in my trailer and sort of lay back for a while and maybe read a book or, listen to a podcast or something like that. But, I couldn't like lay down for too long because it's hard on my back too, so it's kind of a interesting dichotomy for me because I can't do too much laying about, but I can't do too much heavy lifting, and bending over and lifting stuff is really hard on me. So anyways, I was really tired and my back was hurting a lot that first week. And, some doubts started to creep in like, gosh, am I too old now for this? I don't know, it might be. And the other thing was, I was in a campground, and there was a couple that would walk by me, during their morning walk, and we would chat for a while. And they said to me, we think you're kind of crazy to be doing this by yourself. And they were really sweet and everything, but it kind of bothered me a little bit that they were saying I was crazy. I shouldn't let stuff like that get in my way, but it just sort of like made the doubts come in again, like, really? I'm crazy to be out here by myself, are they telling the truth? I mean, is that true or what, so I just was feeling like a little bit self-doubt, I guess, coming in, about that. And so then I went to the next campsite. I stayed at the first one about a week, and then the next one was more like 10 to 12 days, I think. And the next campsite I stayed at, I did have kind of a scary thing happen where some guy was bothering me at 10:30 at night, like I spoke about in a previous video. And that really made me doubt a lot about whether or not it was really wise of me to get out onto the road. I mean, I have to admit, I have a bit of a sheltered life. I really haven't experienced too many times in my life that feeling of vulnerability, because I've just been pretty careful in my life. I don't go out much anymore at night, especially, and I tend to try to stay in safe areas and safe places, and be aware of my surroundings. And I also I'm I guess kind of lucky in that I live in an area that's kind of a upscale area, but it can be not so great too. But for the most part, it's a pretty safe area in which I live. There's not a ton of crime here, so that kind of helps. So, in other words, I just haven't been faced with a lot of creepy people in a while. And so having that experience really spooked me and made me feel like, gosh, it happened so soon. I was only out there for my second week, and then to have something like that happen so soon is like, wow, is it more common than I thought, or what? Part of it is I think I was camping too close to a town, and I think that can kind of attract some of the locals that can make some trouble. So I thought, well, maybe that was the cause. I don't know, but in general, I just think it's less safe out there, unfortunately. Even the park ranger told me that. So again, a lot of things were just really kind of making me doubt that I can get out on the road full time. And to be honest, I'm still weighing those issues, and I'm not sure, I'm not totally sure. So then I went to a campground that was more like an RV park, a Thousand Trails campground. And so I was camping around a lot of other people, and it made me feel a lot safer. However, I didn't necessarily like being so close to other campers and feeling like my privacy wasn't so great. And sometimes, people walk by and they want to start up conversations, and sometimes you're not in the mood. And particularly in the rig that I have, where I'm outside a lot more, people want to come by and talk or comment on your rig, or they see you by yourself and they, feel maybe sorry for you even, and want to strike up a conversation, which I appreciate. But sometimes I didn't feel in the mood, and yet I still felt like I had to be nice and reciprocal. So it was an interesting thing where I felt safer, but I didn't like being necessarily so close to other people. But the people there were really kind and very nice. They were offering me help, and please come to us if anything comes up and you need some help. And that was a really nice feeling. And we had snow one day, and I went out one morning, and I did a previous video on this, and it was absolutely magical for me to see that snow, which I have not seen a lot of in my life. And I was very moved and touched, and just had the sense of awe about being in that winter wonderland, which I haven't really experienced in a long time. Gosh, it's been since I was, in my 20s, I think. So it just was so wonderful. And I suddenly thought, wow, this just seems like just this moment of me being able to see the snow and appreciate the beauty around me just seems like it erases everything. It just kind of like all the challenges, it's like so worth it to be out there and deal with all of the challenges. Because I was also dealing with, there were very hot days and I was melting inside my rig. I was challenged by trying to continuously work my job and move around solar panels and lift up, heavy solar batteries and make it work in my little car as my work office, and constantly moving things around. And it was just so challenging, and sit there in my car and be so hot. And then I would be trying to sit outside under my awning, and then the bugs would be biting me. And then I had to deal with the extreme cold when the snow came, when I was at a higher elevation. And so it was interesting to me how just that one experience of being in the snow and seeing all of the beauty around me just sort of erased all of the challenges I'd been experiencing for the previous, 2 or 3 weeks. And I thought, what, this feeling that I have right now is just such a wonderful feeling, and I want more of it. I want more of this feeling. So now I am going to try to figure out, there's supposed to be, I just talked to a local who was walking, and she said, oh yeah, there's trails around the lake. So I'm going to try to figure out, I'm staying here at Acorn Campground. It looks like there's a trail going around the lake there, so that should be really pretty. So I'm excited that there's all these trails to explore around the lake here. And so again, you know, it's like I'm feeling like this lifestyle would get me out and about more, but hiking and walking and exercising a lot more than I do at home, because I feel inspired and curious to get out there and explore. So this is really exciting. I think I'm staying here 4 nights. I'm going to have plenty of time to really explore all these hikes. So yeah, already I'm just so excited because I feel like I probably will get a lot more fit, you know, despite the fact that it was very challenging yesterday. I'm feeling a little bit more hopeful. I have to dial in, you know, how to make things easier for myself somehow, but I think just being out in nature, you know, it just inspires you to get out more and hike more. So this is going to be a super great thing for me. Like I said, at home I tend to be, you know, too sedentary, a lot of times sitting, and that's not good for our health. So, you know, already this morning I'm up and out of the trailer many times, in and out of my car many times, walking over to the water spigot. I mean, I'm just exercising nonstop. So at home it would be, you know, stand in the kitchen, go sit down, stand in the kitchen, go sit down. You know, it's just a whole different lifestyle. So I'm really excited about that piece because I feel like it could improve my health, not only mentally but physically. So I'm feeling excited at the moment. There's definitely going to be challenges, but so far I'm loving it. The local I was talking to was telling me that she says, I walk over here with my dog all the time. I live nearby here, and she says, and this place is never crowded. She says, I don't get it. You know, there's all these locals nearby that could come over here and enjoy the day use area, but they never do. It's one of those funny things where I think we get kind of wrapped up in our little lives and our houses, and we forget to get outside and enjoy the beautiful nature right near us. This is a beautiful area. See, I've never spent much time here. This is called Calaveras County, and not too far from here I think is the Calaveras Big Trees. But since I'm not too far from Stockton, which is a pretty flat city, I was thinking this was going to be flat, but this is really nice. There's plenty of hills and mountains nearby, and these gorgeous pine trees. This is beautiful. So I love it. $10 a night. What a deal, man. U.S. Army Corps of Engineers place. And so, but I also thought, but I've got to really, the only way I can get out on the road here is if I really think about seriously what's really going to work for me and what's going to make it most comfortable for me. And one of the things I discovered on my trip too is that I'm pretty sure I'm allergic to propane. I've suspected it before because I've had reactions to it before, but every time I would use my propane stove and the fumes would come up into my face, that night I would have a terrible, terrible, terrible migraine headache. And so I thought, wow, so propane, oh no, that's used in everything. Every RV has propane, you know, the stove, the refrigerator, the oven, the heater, everything can work, the water heater, everything can work on propane. That's not good. for me, what the heck am I going to do, you know? So it is a concern, and I'm not sure what the solution is, but it's something that I have to really think about and consider. And one solution I thought of is, okay, so probably the stove. In fact, they've actually done studies on this, and they say gas stoves, as well as well, any kind of gas stove is not good for humans. I mean, you're breathing in those fumes, and they can be cancer causing. But for me, I don't know if it's going to cause cancer, but it's causing me to have terrible migraines. And so even a sweet neighbor of mine tried to fix my stove, thinking she thought that maybe it was a leak or something, but it's practically a brand new stove, so it wasn't that. But what my solution, I think, would be is that I have to do an induction cooking, you know. Induction cooking, then I realized, is a big power hog. And so that means that I would have to do hookup camping most of the time for me to avoid at least using the stove with propane. I think that's the biggest culprit. And I also realized that hookup camping is going to be best for me because I think I would feel the safest in a campground around other people. I had always imagined myself doing dispersed camping in remote places, but I think, at least in the beginning, I just don't think I would feel safe doing that, nor do I think I'm capable of doing it until I was to get like a really good solar setup on my roof or something, you know? So I think initially I would do hookup camping, which I had never considered before because it's pretty darn expensive typically. So I still have yet to do a lot of research on it, but you know, the good thing is I'm a senior now, so I can get some senior discounts, so that might help. So hopefully I can do research and find some, you know, camp places that aren't too expensive for hookup camping. And so I'm kind of feeling like that's where I'm leaning, is hookup camping is going to be work best for me. And so that was very useful, you know, for me to realize that on my trip. You know, it's nothing like real world experience to show you what really actually works, you know. I don't know if you can see them on camera here, but there are several bugs at the top of my potty tent and a lot of other bugs too. And it's something that I am not liking about camping. It's so different from concept, you know, compared to when you actually do something and what really works. And then the other thing, like I said before, is that when I was in my little teardrop, I had to go outside a lot more, right, to cook in the back kitchen. And so I'm just out there in the open and people can see me a lot more. And I think that that's not maybe as safe, you know. So I realized after the trip that there's no way that I can do full-time RVing in just my teardrop trailer. And, you know, I just have to go outside to do the cooking. I'm just out there exposed. And in the one campground, you know, maybe that person that came up to me saw that I was alone and I was out there outside walking around by myself. And because I do, in retrospect, think that it was actually somebody who was camping in the campground that came around, because I didn't mention in the video, but when he did leave, I saw his car going towards more campsites. He didn't take the road that takes you out of the campground. No, he went towards other campsites. So I thought, oh, that's interesting. So he actually, I think, was staying at the campground. But in any case, in that campground, I didn't feel so safe. But then the other one I did, you know, because it was more of an upscale campground, you know, I guess. So people are maybe a little safer, I don't know. But where was I going with that? Lost my train of thought, which happens more and more these days. I have to talk to myself all the time to remember things. Who else in their 60s is going through that? So anyways, it just feels safer for me to be in campgrounds these days that where there's people around. And what I was saying is that I felt more exposed out there, right? So when I was at that one campground, I think that probably that guy spotted me out there, by myself and out there cooking or whatever. And then in the other nice campground, people saw me out there and they just wanted to talk, So again, it just felt like I'm a little more exposed, with this. And so initially after my camping trip, I was thinking maybe you should just get a bigger trailer, because I still love having a separate car to go explore with. I don't really want to be stuck in or feel like I'm stuck inside of my RV for long periods. Maybe you could leave and go for a walk, for half an hour and come back, but I don't want to feel like I'm stuck and I can't go anywhere. I know myself, and I know that I can sort of get a little cabin fever and even a little depressed if I am in one spot and feeling stuck there. I mean, it was so nice with my little trailer that on the days where I felt like, I've got a little extra time, let me go explore nearby and just take off in my car. I loved that. It was great. So that's why I was thinking, okay, maybe just get a bigger trailer so at least you can be inside and you're not out there cooking in your kitchen and sitting outside so much, And I'm still considering, what setup I want. And so I'm just sharing with you my kind of thinking on this. But I was also thinking, okay, well, if you have a trailer and you're not going to go way out in the boonies by yourself, dispersed camping, and you're going to be more in campgrounds where there's other people, then maybe you don't have to worry about the weirdos so much, even though that incident did happen in a campground. But I have a feeling that's a little less common, because I was there, mind you, earlier in the season, and there just wasn't a lot of people around. So there's not witnesses. So I think people are a little more emboldened by that, like the would-be criminals are emboldened when they see, there's nobody around. I'm going to take advantage of this situation, there's no witnesses here. So I think that was the reason why that guy was emboldened to approach me, is there wasn't people around. I mean, I think it could happen, of course, if there were people around. Never say never about anything, but I just think I'm always thinking about the odds of things, right? Just because something happens doesn't mean it always happens that way. But, okay, I lost my train of thought again. Geez, bear with me now. Okay, well, I've arrived at my next camp spot. I'm going to be here for 10 days, actually. Quite a long time. And it's pretty reasonably priced, so it's good. I was kind of amazed that my little teacup, forgot to bubble wrap it and put it away en route here, but it lasted and it did okay. Kind of amazing. But I just got set up. Haven't quite got everything set up, but I decided this time I have a great site here. I'm really excited. It's quite beautiful. That site next to me is a handicap site, and I'm not on the water like I was last time, but I have some views of water in the distance there, and it's very pretty. It was just gorgeous driving here. This campground is called Tuttletown, and it's a gold country. I actually passed through Angel's Camp to get here, and I want to definitely go back and visit sometime while I'm here, spend some time checking out the History Museum and so forth. But I like this site because I'm kind of like not real close to anybody, and it's a Friday night, and so far it's been pretty quiet. I decided that rather than do my blue Kelty tent, that I just gonna put up my little privacy tent here for my bathroom, because there's nobody that way. There's my picnic table. I'm not sure what that road leads to, but it's closed off. But I didn't want to put up the blue shelter in the back like I did last time at the other campground, because I don't want it to... The one thing I actually don't like about it is that it kind of blocks views. So I just have my little toilet in there, and I think that'll work out great because the toilet is very far away from me. Let me see if we can find it. It's way over there with that green roof. I decided to put up my awning. The afternoon sun was pretty intense, so this is only the second time me putting it up, so I'm hoping that it'll stay put with some wind if it happens. So we'll see how that goes. I just saw some quail and some wild turkey walk by. But yeah, so far there's like nobody around, so I'm excited. This is a great spot. I'm a little bummed because they don't have any water. I didn't know that. I thought there was going to be water here, and you know, at least close to the site or somewhere close, but there's no water. Look at this view. Oh, sun's about to go down, so it's becoming golden hour. But thankfully, before I got here, because I wasn't sure about the water situation, I went ahead and filled up my 7-gallon road shower here. See, there's a wild turkey gobbling. So I got that filled up, and hopefully that will really help, because at the last campsite, I had to walk quite a distance to get to the water, and then I had to bend down a lot to wash my dishes and rinse them off. And as I was saying in my last video, all of this bending over is really getting to me, and my back is, in fact, right now, you know, just packing up today and then, you know, hitching, unhitching, and you know, unloading once you get to the site. You know, it's a lot of work for one person, a lot of work. And my back is definitely feeling it. So it's still a big concern, because I'm not sure that that's something that's sustainable long term. I love my teardrop. I just love it. I'm really enjoying it, and I was thinking about it like, well, if you decided to keep this, you really could only go part-time, but even part-time, I'm just finding it really difficult to get everything set up that you have to get set up. And so, I don't know, like I said in my previous video, if a bigger trailer where I could stand up in and stuff, if it would be easier or not. That's not clear to me. So I don't know. I'd be really sad to sell this teardrop, but I'm starting to feel like it's a lot more work than I can handle because of my back issues. But yeah, the bathroom is so far away here, so I'm glad I have my little porta potty, and I'm glad I've got my Yakima road shower here. Okay, anyway, back to the trailer. I love the option of having a separate car, and I feel like if I'm in campgrounds, I'm going to be safer instead of being out in the boonies somewhere where maybe it's not so safe for a solo female. But I'm also thinking a lot about work, how much physical work, I feel like with a trailer, there's more physical work. You've got that hook up and unhooking to do, and you have the stabilizers to do. It's more stressful, I think, because you're always worried about getting stuck on some road or parking lot where you can't turn around, and stress is also something I'm thinking about a lot. Like, I need to keep the stress as low as I can. And so lately, just recently, over the past few days, I'm thinking, yeah, maybe a Class C would be the best thing for me to do. I'm just worried about that feeling of being stuck, like in it, because I feel, again, like it would be a lot of work. Like, oh God, I forgot to get that ingredient I need for that recipe. Oh shoot, I want to go down to the store. Oh God, now I've got to pack up everything in the car. In my rig, make it all safe, and then I've got to go outside and unhook everything, and then I've got to take all of the locks off, and I've got to take it down the levelers, and I've got to, what a production, right? It's like, I'm really worried about that, because it won't be so easy to do that kind of a thing in a Class C. The only thing I can think of is to do as small of a Class C as I can, potentially get away with. I don't want to do a Class B. I think I have some claustrophobia issues, and I don't think a Class B with those narrow walkways would make me feel too hemmed in. Interestingly, I didn't feel claustrophobic in my teardrop trailer because I think my big gazing window helped, and a big window above me helped, and also a feeling of, it was wide, and so it didn't make me feel so claustrophobic. But those Class B ones do. I've been in a couple, and I felt claustrophobic in them. So I'm leaning towards getting the smallest Class C that I can possibly get. Now, the cons to that is, they don't get great gas mileage. You're kind of more have to be more stationary at spots. It's not as easy to get up and go do an errand or explore and stuff. And also another concern with Class C for me is like, okay, so then if you can't do these errands and stuff, you have to cram them all in between, from one location to the next. And is that going to make me too tired? Is that going to make me overwhelmed? To have to dump the tanks and empty, refill the tanks and do the laundry and do the shopping and all the thing, get the gas and do all the thing, all that stuff you have to do. That could be a lot of work too, so. So yeah, it's interesting when you start to think about this, how many pros and cons. I did correspond a little bit with a woman who went traveling in a small trailer, and it was, I think, a tag trailer. And there were a couple of things that she didn't like about it. She said that with the smaller tanks, she says, I feel like, I had to refill and deal with the tanks like every 3 days because she had small tanks. And then the other issue she said is we were terrified when she was on this highway that I guess had high winds, and she could feel the trailer going back and forth, and ooh, that would scare me. But I suppose you could have that in a Class C too. But maybe you feel it more with a trailer. I just don't know. But to look in your rearview mirror and see a trailer, weaving would scare me. So I don't know about that. But after 2 years, she actually decided to. She's decided to quit RVing because she said it's been a struggle for her physically, and she just felt it was time to get off the road after 2 years. So in any case, it's a lot. There's a lot of things to consider, and so those are the things I'm thinking about a lot about. I'm going to try to sell my travel trailer probably after the summer, after I get a few more camping trips in it. I did actually have a trip planned to go to Yosemite later this summer, but because I've never been, but I had to cancel it due to some other things that have come up. But I want to get some more camping trips in it and then try and sell it later this summer, I guess. And then start the process of looking for another rig. So yeah, it does sound like I've decided I am going to try and become a full-time nomad. But again, I think once I get a new rig, I probably will do another test trip in it. My situation is that I live in this wonderful senior apartment in a beautiful area of the country, which is wine country in Sonoma, and I just love living here, and I don't really want to give up living here. I mean, it's hard to leave because I'm so in love with this area. It's just so me, it's got the green, and I have mountain views right out my window here, and I'm close to all this beautiful scenery and just an hour to the ocean, and I like the culture here and the people and everything. So it's hard for me to leave this, so I want to be really sure that I am going to like road life before I give up so much, is how I see it right now. So that's the thinking process, and I am processing still. I haven't made any concrete decisions. I kind of figure just take a day at a time, but in the background I keep thinking, oh, that day when I saw the snow, it just was so wonderful, and I want more. I want more of that. I want more, especially before it becomes too late for me to have adventures like that. I mean, I'm 67, and I have some chronic health issues, and I don't know how much longer I really have. So in terms of like getting out there and doing so much physical type travel, and it's a concern. So I think that when I get a new rig, I definitely will do another test trip in it. So that's what I have to share with you about what I learned from the month-long trip. It was a lot of fun. It was a challenging trip, and definitely pushed my boundaries, but I'm also a very determined and stubborn person, so I feel like I have to try. I will regret it the rest of my life if I don't. It's so important that we realize. I watched a video this morning of this remarkable man who was diagnosed with cancer and only had 6 months left to live, and he's talking about how important it is to not put off those things that that we always thought we would have time to do. But we just don't know. So I really want to do it, so that's where I'm at. So please share your thoughts below in the comments section and let me know what you think about all this. And if you are or have been a full-time traveler, I would love to know your pros and cons of whatever rig that you had, to just give me more insights about what you found to be good things, what you found to be bad things. So that would be very helpful. So I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye. I am 2 weeks into my month-long test run camping trip to check out whether or not I feel that I can give up my apartment and everything and get out onto the road full time. And I am kind of amazed how this is a good test run so far, because I'm kind of encountering, I think, so far as I know, a lot of things that can happen on the road, including days like this where it has just been raining all day long and storming and thundering, and so I've been sort of having to stay inside my little teardrop rig here most of the day. There was little spots of sunshine where I could get out for a little bit, and I even took a little 20-minute walk, I think it was. So I've also encountered lots of bugs. I've encountered somebody knocking on, not knocking, but talking to me at 10:30 at night, trying to, I think, panhandle. I've dealt with some pretty warm weather. I've dealt with campers nearby that are making a lot of noise and partying and so forth. So it's a good test run so far to see what it's really like out here. And I think that so far I feel like I could handle most of this stuff that's coming up.